Euphemia's New Entertainment by H.G. Wells. Narrated by Gary Appleton. Euphemia has great ideas of putting people at their ease. 1,000 little devices for thawing the very stiffest among them with a home-like glow. Far be it from me to sing her praises, but I must admit that at times she is extremely successful in this, and at times almost too successful. That tea cake business, for instance. No doubt it is a genial expedient to make your guest toast his own tea cake. Down he must go upon his knees upon your hearthrug, and his poses will melt away like the dews of the morning before the rising sun. Nevertheless, when it comes to roasting a gallant veteran like Major Augustus, deliberately roasting him in spite of the facts that he has served his country nobly through 30 irksome years of peace, and that he admires Euphemia with a delicate fervour, roasting him, I say, alive as if it were a Strasbourg goose, or suddenly affixing a delicate young genius to the hither end of a toasting fork while he is in the midst of a really subtle and tender conversation. The limits of social warmth seem to be approaching dangerously near. However, this scarcely concerns Euphemia's new entertainment. This new entertainment is modelling in clay. Euphemia tells me it is to be quite the common thing this winter. It is intended especially for the evening after a little dinner. As the reader is aware, the evening after a little dinner is apt to pall. A certain placid contentment creeps over people. I don't know in what organ originality resides, but it is a curious thing, and one I must leave to the consideration of psychologists. That people's output of original remarks appears to be obstructed in some way after these gastronomic exercises. Then a little dinner always confirms my theory of the absurdity of polygonal conversation. Music and songs, too, have their drawbacks, especially gay songs. They invariably evoke a vaporous melancholy. Card-playing, Euphemia objects to because her uncle, the Dean, is prominent in connection with some ridiculous association for the suppression of gambling, and in what are called games, no rational creature esteeming himself as immortal soul would participate. In this difficulty it was that Euphemia decided, I fancy, by the possession of certain really very becoming aprons, took upon this business of clay modelling. You have a lump of greyish clay and a saucer of water and certain small tools of wood, for which I cannot discover the slightest use in the world, given you, and Euphemia puts on a very winning bib. Then, moistening the clay until it acquires sufficient plasticity, and incidentally, splashing your cuffs and coat sleeves with an agreeably light tinted mud, you set to work. At first, people are a little disgusted at the apparent dirtiness of the employment, and also, perhaps, rather diffident. The eldest lady says weakly deprecatory things, and the feeblest male is jocular after his wont. But it is remarkable how soon the charm of this delightful occupation seizes hold of you. For really the sensations of moulding this plastic matter into shape are wonderfully and quite unaccountably pleasing. It is ever so much easier than drawing things. Anyone can do it, as the advertisement people say, and the work is so much more substantial in its effects. Technical questions arise. In Moulding a head, do you take a lump and fine it down, or do you dab on the features after the main knob of it is shaped? So soon as your guests realized the plastic possibilities before them, a great silence, a delicious absorption comes over them. Some rash person states that he is moulding an Apollo, or a vase, or a bust of Mr. Gladstone, or an elephant, or some such animal. The wiser one goes to work in a speculative spirit, aiming secretly at this perhaps, but quite willing to go on with that if Providence so wills it. Buddhas are good subjects. There is a certain genial rotundity not difficult to attain, and the pyramidal build of the idol is well suited to the material. You can start a Buddha and hedge to make it a loaf of bread if the features are unsatisfactory. For slender objects, a skeletal substructure of bent hairpins or matches is advisable. The innate egotism of the human animal becomes very conspicuous. "His tail is too large," says the lady with the fish in self-criticism. "I haven't put his tail on yet. That is his trunk," answers the young man with the elephant. It's a pretty sight to see the first awakening of the artistic passion in your guests, the flush of discovery, the glow of innocent pride as the familiar features of Mr. Gladstone emerge from the bust of Clytie. An incidental stroke at the thumbnail develops new marvels of expression. By the by, it is just as well to forbid deliberate attempts at portraiture. And I know no more becoming expression for everyone than the look of intent and pleasing effort, a divine touch almost that comes over the common man modelling. For my own part, I feel a being infinitely my own superior when I get my fingers upon the clay. And incidentally, how much pleasanter this is than writing articles to see the work grow altogether under your hands, to begin with the large masses and finish with the details, as every artist should. Just to show how easy the whole thing is, I append a little sketch of the first work I ever did. I had positively no previous instruction. Unfortunately, the left ear of the animal, a cat, by the by, has fallen off. The figure to the left is the back view of a Buddha. However, I have said enough to show the charm of the new amusement. It will prove a boon to many a troubled hostess. The material is called modelling clay, and one may buy it of any dealer in artist materials, several pounds for sixpence. This has to be renewed at intervals, as a good deal is taken away by the more careless among your guests upon their clothes.